Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Olympian Table. And here we are at the aftermath of Beryl. We're all sort of recovering. We managed to get internet back last night. We got electric back um, last week, actually, last Thursday. In my area, we got electric back. But then a couple of nights was very, very painful when it's humid. You've got your windows open, you've got the mosquitoes coming in. It can be very, very painful indeed. Now we're actually going through a mosquito boom in Texas, which makes it even worse. But of course, now everybody is looking into the issues that we had through Beryl, um, and what could have been done better and where the problems were. So now it's getting to sort of cutting time, really. But before we get to that, we start to discuss that. Good morning, Kay. How you doing?
I am good.
Mosquitoes inviting you?
Yes, I'm itchy.
Everybody's struggling with that at the moment. Everybody is struggling with them good old mosquitoes. Even got in my car this morning, there was 5 big mosquitoes in my car. Moved the trash bin into the property from the street. Foolishly left the door open. By the time I got in the car, there was 5 big mosquitoes in there. They was big mosquitoes. They wasn't just little ones. So there I was, throwing my jacket around, trying to kill them.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got some things to talk about this morning. There was a meeting in Houston last night, and basically what happened, um, there's a number of residents that are really upset that we're spending $25 million that's currently earmarked for new art, and we should be spending it on infrastructure. I do agree with that. I currently don't think 25 million is going to do too much in the way of increasing infrastructure. I think part of the problem is down to Centrepoint because they don't keep the trees off the lines. So when we get to the point of having problems, the trees go down, the lines go down, you don't get electric. And then what happens is, in the event of what takes so long in the event of a named storm and a tragic event like Beryl, is that first of all they have to evaluate, which takes normally about 2 days to evaluate the amount of damage and what's caused the damage. Then they start to work on it. So that's the first thing we're going to talk this morning. Any points on that, okay?
I just kind of think that it is really frustrating. They admitted their wrongdoings, Centerpoint, with not having emergency crews. And I think that it kind of goes into the fact that nobody really took Beryl very seriously, to be honest. Nobody was kind of, it was one of the hurricanes that.
Well, they took it seriously when it was too late.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't take it seriously when they said that, we were going to have
Because
one
originally going
coming.
to Mexico, then it was announced, oh, it's coming up the coast.
Right. So,
And then Houstonians thought, well, if it goes on to the east side of us, then we'll be on the dry side of the storm. That didn't happen. Houston ended up being on the wet side of the storm. So we ended up getting, quite a brunt out of it. So it was very much an experience for us.
mhm.
And so yes, we sort of did get the message a little bit too late. But I do agree with the meeting that they had where they said, we need to spend more on infrastructure. We've been saying it for a long time. Basics, no more spending until everybody. We need more money to make sure that the trash is picked up, that sewage hookups. Um, and basically, I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, our recycling wasn't picked up. That was before the storm. The week before the storm, our recycling bin wasn't picked up. So, not every week is the recycling, not every other week is the recycling picked up like it should be. And a lot of people have, highlighted Beryl highlighted that the city's infrastructure is currently not resilient. We don't know what's coming down the pike. this item 16, our funding is the epitome of fiddling while Rome is burning. The one job of the city is to keep residents safe, and I couldn't say that more. Do your job, protect the people, invest in life-saving infrastructure, said Barbara Denson. With the amount of named storms and tragedies that we've had in this city in the 20 years that I've lived here, a lot more really needs to be done. I do think there's some good stuff that's been done. I think they've done more holding ponds for when we get high water. When Allison came through, Pike came through, there was another one, Katrina came through. They was all devastating, high water. But since then, they've widened Bray's Bayou. A number of the bayous around here, they've widened them, they've done retention ponds. So, from that point, it's been a lot easier. But also, let's move on to the linemen. Can we do that? Okay. Also, another disturbing point is, people say that Houston Texans, welcome people from other cities. Well, we're going to give you a Texas welcome. Well, all the linemen that came here from a lot of cities like Chicago, Michigan and everything, they came down here to help us. And what ended up happening was there was people that was going there shooting guns over, the linemen, because they was frustrated with the linemen. It's not the linemen you need to be frustrated with. They're here to help us. They're working 12-hour days. They're away from their families. They really are doing what they can to help. I mean, it's their job. I'm sure they take great pride in what they do, but they've got to do things, the right way. But for people to go there and harass them because their area does not have power, although as frustrating as it is not helping the situation. And basically on the article that we found it says drawn guns, thrown rocks, threatening messages, Houston's prolonged outages following Hurricane Beryl has some fed up and frustrated residents taking out their anger on repair workers who are trying to restore power access across the city. We currently have about 95% electric in the city. I think that's sort of where it is at the moment. It says the threats and confrontations have prompted police escorts, charges in at least 2 cases, and pleas from authorities and officials to leave the linemen alone so they can work. Beryl knocked out power to nearly 3 million people in Texas, the most of those in the Houston area. After making landfall July the 8th, the Category 1 storm unleashed heavy rain and winds that uprooted trees and damaged homes and business along the Texas coast and parts of southeast Texas. State authorities have reported 18 deaths from Beryl in the Houston area. Some have been due to heat exposure following the loss of power, according to the medical examiner's office in Harris County. It's been a difficult time for Houstons. There's a lot of Houstons that have banded together to help one another. But, this type of action, to be perfectly honest, is very discouraging when you've got people coming from other states, from Louisiana, Arizona, all linemen trying to help us. And, we're treating them this way. We should be making them Texas barbecue. So that, if that was me, I'd be wondering whether on the next one round, I'd be wondering whether I want to come back.
To help?
To be perfectly honest, I'm thinking, no, it's okay. When Texas is in problem next time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I saw a video on Instagram where there was a guy who was following the energy truck in his area when they were doing repairs. He was just like following to try to get them to fix his, fix the electricity near his house.
There was a tweet that was out there when they had them at Energy Park, on the car park over there. And these linemen had just finished a 16-hour shift, and they went over there and they was feeding them and letting them sleep over there. Now they've got no air conditioning, they've got generators. like anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to sleep and get ready to go out there and do another 16-hour shift. And there was people over there taking photos of them saying this is all they're doing is coming to Texas.
And they're being lazy.
And not being lazy and not doing anything.
That is crazy.
It's not fair on the line, man.
Yeah, are they supposed to work 24 hours? I was frustrated. I mean, not having any power and things like that. I understand that it is.
It was a shock to the system that it took them so long to get the electric back.
Yeah.
But I don't. We say this every time. You mentioned it this morning before we came on air, Kay. Every time the electric goes down, it's not Centrepoint that's the problem. It's the infrastructure from ERCOT. What we need to be is on a grid. We need to be on the national grid. So in the event that we become, we have this problem again, we can't generate electric, at least we can pull from other states, And as Texas produces more of its own energy now than anything else because of all the wind power, green energy that we have on the west side of Texas for miles and miles and miles, to be perfectly honest, we're very energy efficient in Texas. Surely we could share some of that and get some sort of income for the state. So, what are we going to talk about next?
So next, what we have is just a little kind of interesting story. I guess there was a just moving away from Houston for a moment. We have this guy in New York, and he was throwing, he just kind of went into a New York City building and just started throwing everything off the roof. Just started, like, he went to a high rise and got into the building on the terrace, and he just started throwing just chairs and benches and everything off of the roof, which I thought that was just very strange.
Do you think there's an element of insanity in America?
Yeah, I mean, he is from Florida.
Going on, I mean, it's just total insanity.
I think
lack of respect for
common courtesy
for everybody.
Yeah.
Lack of respect for one another. It's frightening, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I say this all the time, and I think that it seems like people we're losing faith in our government, and people are no longer proud to be Americans. It seems like it's one of those things where people aren't the basic respect factors, from the children that they have in schools and things like that to adults. It just seems like there's a lack of wanting to do anything for our country, like people in other countries, right? And a lot of other countries, you have to do mandatory military service at least 1 year, right? Korea 2 years, Israel you have to do 2 years, things like that, every single person. And that's just like, even if you're an office worker, whatever, that's partially to help people learn structure, have them go through boot camps, yeah. And then also it's helping people be employed. You're employed by the government, so you get enough so that you can live as a citizen. So every time that gets brought up to Americans, people are like, I would never do that. Why would I ever do that? Things like that. Whereas in other countries, it's just like, yeah, that's just what we do. It's been our way. Look at countries like Japan and things like that. It's an extreme culture of respect. And I know a lot of Americans are like, man, I wish we could be more like Japan and things like that.
Discipline, they're very disciplined.
Exactly. And it's common things though, like even when you're walking up the stairs, they choose one side of the stairs. Everybody uses one side to go up, everybody uses one side to go down. That's it. We don't do that in America. You know what I mean? Even the escalator, you walk up the escalator. Even though the escalator is moving, you still walk up it. And if you're not walking up it, they move, you stand to the side. Just little things like that we can do, but we don't have the courtesy of
In Europe, it's that way.
it's
It's that way
where you move to the
in Europe.
side.
You'll move to the side if you're not walking.
You're not walking, yeah. So
You'll step to the right if you're not walking, and then if you walk upstairs, you walk on the left side.
but we don't even walk. So it's not even a thing that Americans, we don't walk up the escalator. So it's silly. Like there are little things like that, even down to the shopping cart theory. Do you know what the shopping cart theory is?
No.
The shopping cart theory is, when you go to the grocery store, right? Do you put your shopping cart back or do you just leave it like next to your,
You should put the shopping cart back.
Yes, you should. I make it a point to always put my shopping cart back. I get picked up from an Uber. I put myself in the Uber and then I walk in and I put the cart back into the little station. But it's like such a heavily divisive topic because people are like, that's dumb. Like, why would you do that? That's what their jobs are for. And it's one of those things where it's like a society. Someone said actually had a boyfriend who was like, well, one of the reasons that you put it back is because it shows if a country can run itself without a government. Because it's such a small thing, it's such a small common courtesy thing to do. Can we run ourselves without a government? We couldn't do it. There's no way. People are fighting over whether you should put it back. There's no way we can do that. So I do think it's insanity. I think some people also do things so that they can go to jail for a little bit of time so that they can get 3 hot meals and somewhere to sleep too. So
Well, I just think there's a lot in America that's obviously screwed up. We've had a terrible week.
mhm.
Beryl was the first thing. There's some other issues that we're going to talk about a bit later on. But, as a country, I think America's pretty screwed up at the moment, which for a number of reasons.
Yeah.
You know.
My best friend, they want me to move to Canada with them because of everything that's going on in America.
Canada, but people are not Canada. I think is a nice country.
It is. It's just getting more expensive to actually live there. With like the housing costs have gone up, and then of
But
course the taxes.
That's worldwide.
Yeah. So.
Even in Europe now, I was looking at a house in Birmingham where I'm from. Uh, it's on a road called Carpenter Road in Edgbaston. It's always been a pretty, and it's like 1.3 million pounds for a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Oh my gosh.
And that's pounds, so that's like 1.7, 1.8 million dollars.
Is it still? I think the pound is
It's 79 cents.
right now. It used to be, but I think the dollar is worth more than the pound right now. £1 sterling is equal to $1.30. So we're
it was $1.29 a couple of days ago.
yeah. So we're we're a little bit more expensive. So it's
at one time there was $5 to the pound.
yeah. Yeah, that's why.
When my dad first started going to Vegas, that's why he used to love to go to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Because he could do 5 times more gambling.
Yeah, see, man, I just, so that is not good. We used to be, I think maybe like a few months ago, it was $1, it was 99 cents. The pound was, we were right neck and neck to be the same.
No, we haven't
Really? Because
I send money to my mom. Now the bank gouge, they always charge you more anyway. It's been around there for the last 12 months or so.
yeah, because I was gonna say it looks like maybe in September we dropped down.
It might have hiked up for a little bit.
Yeah, we just for like a second from September to October we were pretty equal. Yeah, But
Did you see what
in
they got?
Canada, we're at 70. If you want to go to Canada, that's what I said. I was like, I gotta save my money. I go to Canada. I'll be rich in Canada because it's 73 cents to the dollar. So it's a little bit.
That's what people don't realise about America is that our economy is actually strong compared to European countries.
Yeah, even, hey, Japan, the dollar is falling so much. Have you seen that? The the yen to USD exchange rate is so bad right now. I don't, I literally, it's really, really bad. Like their economy is failing. Um,
In Japan,
yes,
yeah, it's been failing for some time.
yeah, for since the beginning of 2024, it's
And
been
they were
failing.
in the 90s. They were one of the strongest Asian countries out there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's move on to France
So
and the Olympics.
this is very funny.
Just a little step up to this, just to sort of fill people in. Some time ago, there was a number of people that decided they was going to poop in the Seine because part of the.
Well, let's start even from before then. They announced
Okay.
that they were going to clean up the Seine because it was what, since 1924, it was unswimmable. It was so dirty that you weren't able to do it. And so then
We went there in the 80s and it was very smelly.
it smells like the Riverwalk in San Antonio.
That doesn't smell.
It does, but
I
they
don't
clean it
think-
out
I
every
don't-
like 3 years.
I don't think it. When we went last time, it didn't smell.
Every few years they clean it out. That's the difference. But yeah.
Anyway, carry on.
So that's really it. And then you were saying that you know, the French were pretty angry at that because they'd been asking for it for a while, and then they decided to do it maybe what, at the end of December, I think. They decided to start cleaning it up at the end of December, and they said that first of all, it was such a rush job that it may not even be safe to swim in, and then secondly, they were just upset.
For the Paris Olympics next year.
Mm-hmm. This year.
Oh, this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a year behind.
So, yeah, I
When
think
does it start?
a few days, in a couple of days.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Go Team USA.
Yeah. Have you seen? That's what I wanted you to look at too.
But basically, anyway, the reason was for the Seine to be cleaned up. A number of people objected to it, and they put toilets along the side so people could go and poop in there. And then it would actually time as it goes down the Seine that when they did the swimming, they would hit the poop. So anyway, they cleaned it up. Well, yesterday or the day before, the mayor of Paris actually swam across the Seine.
Mm-hmm.
So he wasn't going to be beat. How much poop he ended up on him, I really don't know.
I think they canceled it because it was going to be like a huge thing, and then they canceled it because of the pooping. That's a lot. I mean, what do you think would have been more cost effective for Paris? Do you think it would have been more cost effective for them to create a swimming pool or like a large Olympic sized pool like they normally would? Because I think they're cleaning it so that people can swim in it, right?
It's for the
Oh, it's
flag.
just for fun.
It's for the Olympic flag thing, and the people haven't got to smell the Seine when
When
doing
they're
the
there.
photos.
That
They're taking, they're taking pictures of the Eiffel Tower. Then they're not going to be able to smell the Seine.
Wow, that is so. I think that is so just. I can see why Parisians are upset because if they've been asking for it for a while, then of course, you know, I would be upset too. But I mean,
with the money that people are, because they're going to want boat rides along the Seine and stuff like that.
for the tourists, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
that's basically why they're doing it.
but speaking of the Olympics and everything like that, have you gotten to take a look at the Team USA figure skating roster at all?
There's no. This is a Summer Olympics. There's no ice skating.
Oh, okay, okay. So you're like, I
This
don't
is a
care.
Summer Olympics. That's what I sort of said.
You're like, it doesn't
The
matter
only
to
thing I
me.
know about the Summer Olympics is when I was looking at an article and it had the it released all the uniforms
Mm-hmm.
for USA for the gymnastics,
Mm-hmm.
for the swimming.
I see. I see. Yeah. So I was looking at it and I thought it was interesting. We of course have Simone Biles. Of course,
Who
she
is she's incredible.
yeah, she came back um because I think she had taken a break for a while. But now she decided that she would come back. So I think that's great. And then, we have a lot of Paralympics. I didn't even know that the Paralympics was a thing.
Paralympics is always done after the actual Olympics.
Okay, okay. I did not know that it was as big as it is. But then of course we have the women's basketball team. I think we talked about it briefly when Caitlin Clark didn't get selected. So I know that people were upset, but yeah, I'm excited to see how well we do. I think I think for the most part, typically the US, what we have the most Olympic titles just across the entire Olympics. So that's good for us, but I really hope we do well. We need a little bit of distraction as to what's going on in the rest of our country right now with Beryl and people throwing things off of roofs. And now we have our newly elected Republican candidate for the presidential election. So,
What VP?
no, the Donald Trump recently was chosen as the
Yeah.
Republican. Mhm. So we can talk about that as well.
Let's talk about the assassination attempt.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of my personal view on this is it doesn't make any difference if you're a Republican, whether you're an independent or whether you're a Democrat. To see something like this uh, across the airwaves is just, it shouldn't be happening in America. We have far too many guns. We have far too many turn around and say, well, you know, people have mental issues, regardless whether it's a mental issue or not. This young 20-year-old that, has been accused of the situation at the moment was up on the roof for a minute and 37 seconds before, any action was taken by the Secret Service. There's a lot of questions that have been brought into the camp, whether this was staged, or this was an actual attempt. They said it was first of all they said it was a bullet in Mr. Trump's ear. It wasn't a bullet in his ear. It was shards of glass. So that's why I think when something like this happens, people should just basically take a step back and give everybody the right amount of time to come out. I think it was a really, I thought it was courageous and empathetic of Joe Biden personally to call up Mr. Trump. And I thought it was the right thing to do, just to see how he's doing. He apparently called him up straight away. Mr. Trump said, he was doing okay. Barack Obama called him up as well and, wished him all the best on his recovery. And I think that was a wonderful thing. There's no Republicans that have come out and said, all they've done is basically blame what they consider hate speech, that, the country's going to fall apart. J.D. Vance came out when he was announced as vice president, his nomination as vice president, that basically it was, the shooting was the fault of the Democrats. And I don't think that's the way you should be acting to something like this. I think both sides, it needs to be a bipartisan investigation into this situation. If it was Joe Biden standing up there, I'd be saying the same thing. I just think this is a terrible part of American society that we have to deal with, and we shouldn't have to be dealing with it. The National Rifle Association pumped millions of dollars into some of the Republicans' pockets, which I don't think the National Rifle Association or any of these organizations, even Elon Musk, he's pushing $45 million a day into the Republican fund. So basically, I think what we all need to do as a nation, we should be going forward as well. Do you want to roll the clip?
So as far as talking about the assassination attempt and things like that, the alleged shooter was a Republican, which I think is very interesting, that he said that the Democrats were responsible. So that's very, weird to say. But also, a lot of people think that the assassination was staged. So we're going to show kind of why people think that it was staged, or just a quick little video regarding that. So yeah, so that video, I think a big thing is the difference between the 2016 when they heard gunshots to the actual behavior as to when there were real gunshots. So
yeah, I feel for the people that were. I remember there was people that were shot in this and died. One was fatally shot, and I believe two of them were seriously injured. You've got to feel for them and their families. I'm glad that Mr. Trump was not shot fatally. Definitely not a Trump supporter, but at the same time, I do support democracy, and I don't think this is the way that people should be behaving. And I don't think throwing insults from either side of the table, whether you're Republican or Democrat, to whose fault it is aiding the situation. I think it's it's just not the way it should be done.
yeah, it's pretty I think that it's
depressing.
Yeah, and it's really hard, like, for me to wrap my head around it, just because of the fact that it's like, man, there's so much within this shooting. I have mixed feelings about it, whether or not it was staged, but if it wasn't staged, then I do think that it is ridiculous that, you know, we have to go through these lengths, to kind of try to stop
Well,
someone.
here's the thing: the Republicans are into all these conspiracies. All right, how much truth is going to come out of a lot of this? Are they going to start making all conspiracies about this? The other part is, as I said to you, I'm so glad Mr. Trump was not shot. I've read some of the comments online. I think it's so disrespectful to Mr. Trump. At the end of the day, whether you like him or not, you have to take some respect, because he was a president for 4 years, whether you liked him or not. You know, I wasn't impressed with his performance as a president, but at the same time, he's so diverse. But from a point of view of,
Yeah.
if we're going to beat him, we're going to beat him at the polls. That's really what it's about.
Yeah.
So with that being said, is that it for today?
That's all we have for today.
Yeah, we're going to keep it short and sweet. My phone's been ringing off the hooks, so I better get to the calls. My daughter's trying to get a new house. So
She needs some
but
help.
anyway, Kev, I want to thank you for tuning in today, making all this happen. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. If you have any comments, please put them, and I'm sure you will have some comments about whether you think it was set up, whether you think it was a sympathy thing, whether you think it was, a lone gunman. My two things are with the whole Trump thing. It took the Secret Service apparently 1 minute 37 to respond. People shouting, "There's a gunman on the roof." And then the other thing that I find very suspicious is when the Secret Service were taking him off the platform. Did you know they reckon that he still had 8 seconds where he wasn't completely covered up because all he was bothered about was punching his hand in the air?
Mm-hmm.
If that was an experienced gunman who was, army trained, I mean, that would have given him extra, time to take his shot, and that's another worrying thing. So, was it a publicity stunt? If it is, it's a very terrible publicity. It's a terrible publicity stunt because people got killed.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, this is a 20-year-old boy using an AR-15 or an AR style gun. I think it's terrible what these Trump supporters have had to experience going through all of this, and free speech is what this country's all about. Everybody's entitled to free speech, whether we agree with them or we disagree with them. And I really, I feel that we've got to, stop this nonsense. But anyway, until next week, please like, subscribe, pass on your comments, turn on notifications. We're here every week. So thank you from me, thank you from
Me.
Miss K over there. All right, Kay?
Mm-hmm.